A very cool game coming up. You've heard us talk about it a little bit on this stream before, but we really wanted to give a lot more details on Robot Quest. So this is a game we're doing in partnership with Perfect Day, and they're actually a digital, they're an app company. They do apps, and they have this game they're working on a digital version of called Robot Quest. And it happens that some of their players are big deck building fans.
Magic the Gathering
fans, and they, they love, obviously geeks like us, and they like, all the same kinds of stuff. And they were playing some games, and when they were in the process of staffing up, they got to the point where they were stalled, where they were bringing in new staff, and they couldn't advance their app anymore. And they actually got tinkering on deck builder design in their world. And they actually met up with us at PAX Unplugged. PAX Unplugged, the last time conventions were going. And they showed it to me, and I thought it was super cool. And then, we agreed to work together, and we've taken the game over, and I have been doing development on it and sort of tweaking it and customizing it, making it more in line with our style of deck building gameplay. And in this game, it's got sort of an anime style setting, kind of a Pokemon-ish feel, where you've got young kids going around building cool robots, going on adventures with them, and battling for fame and glory. And in this board game we're making, it is taking place in the contest arena, and your bot is fighting against other people's bots. And this game is 2 to 4 players, and is really cool at 4. You can play plays great 2, 3, but it's also a phenomenal 4-player game, and it's a spatial deck builder. So basically, you have miniatures in the game. We'll give you a quick look at those guys. Each of the adorable robots has a cool mini, and these are going to be full color miniatures. And when you're playing, you're on a board, and you move around in the space on the board, and you have various attacks that have a range. Some of them be hand-to-hand attacks, so you'd have to be right next to another robot to use them. Some are ranged attacks, so they can go a certain number of spaces over. And each turn is like a turn in Star Realms, where you've got 5 cards in your hand. You play those cards out on the table. There's no cost to play a card. You just lay them down. And some of those cards will give you the ability to move. Some of them will give you various attacks you can do. And others will give you other special abilities. And others will give you money. And you can use the money to buy new cards. So just like in Star Realms, you've got various resources, and you're using them to move around the board. And we're showing you the bots that are going to be coming with the base game. So we got 4 different bots. Yeah, they're super cool minis. And this has kind of a video game feel to it, where basically your bot has 5 health, and when you take damage, when you deal damage to a bot, you get victory points. So basically, your health is represented in little beads. Jump back to us. And your health is represented by little beads. And when you damage, and those beads are on you have a card for each of your robot, and you've got little counters on it representing its health. When somebody hits you or blasts you with something and deals damage to you, you literally take those health points off the robot and you put them in their victory point pile. So when you damage somebody, you basically, that converts directly into victory points. If you finish off a robot, the last health bead is a different color, and it's worth an additional point. So if Debbie goes over and smashes a robot for 4, she's going to get 4 victory points. If I then hit it and do a few more points of damage, I'll only get that last point, but that one's worth double. That last point's worth double. And this has a very video game feel, where death is not a big deal at all. So when your robot is destroyed, your miniature's just removed from the table, and then on your very next turn, you just respawn. You can put your robot down in any of the starting points and just continue playing. So basically, the death is super temporary. It just takes you off the table temporarily, and then you just come right back on. You get back up to full health, and you run out and you battle some more. So it's got this very fun, frenetic feel to it. So this is the board. Now, this sort of big area on the left here with all the people on it, that is actually going to have grayed out spots. That's where all the cards in the trade row will go, and your always available cards, etc., are all placed on that area. So, and the area with the squares is are the spaces that you can move around on the board. The colorful squares in the four corners, those are the spawn points where you can bring a robot in on the board. And then you sort of have that central area of different colors. And basically being in the center area generates you sort of victory points automatically. Just for being there, you'll gain some victory points. And so that's a nice encouragement for people to move around into the center area. There's also going to be extra tiles in the game which do all kinds of cool stuff, and so those will get placed around the board, so you can really customize your play area for the game. And we'll show you a little bit on the card. So this is a starting deck, so it look very familiar to Star Realms player. So you've got 8 batteries. So these just give you an energy, so they're like a scout. You've got the hammer. It's kind of like a viper, does the damage, but it's got that little fist on it, which means it's got a range of 1. So basically, it's only for the squares next to you. So it's got to be one of the horizontal or vertical squares next to your piece. And then you've got the jump jets, and that gives you 2 movement. But the movement with the jump jets is special. You can actually leap over obstacles. So let's say there was a pit with spikes in it in between you and where you wanted to go. You could use the jump jets to fly over it. Now, with the battery energy that gives you trade, it gives you the ability to buy cards from the market, just like in Star Realms. However, you can also use it for movement. So if you have 5 energy, you could use 3 of it to buy something and move 2 spaces. You could move 5 spaces. You could do any combination of powering your movement or buying stuff. And that can be really interesting, especially with those special tiles on the board, which are doing cool stuff. Oh, if I could get there, it can do cool things. Also, you can push each other around. So if you go up to another robot, and you can move into their square by spending 2 energy instead of the normal 1 to move. And you go in, you actually push them out of the square and you move in. That can be really useful. Let's say there's like a pit with spikes, or there's a area that's on fire, or some crazy thing going on in the arena. You can literally like push the enemy bot into that badness. Or if they're on a good spot, you can push them out of the way. If you push a bot into a wall, you can do damage to them in that way. So that sort of the movement can be a weapon of its own. Then there's always available cards that are these are the equivalent of the Explorer. So you've got the Advanced Battery, which just gives you 3 energy. So it's a really powerful battery. You've got the Rivet Gun, and you can see on there, it's got the cost is at the top. So its cost is 3. And then the little explosion is how much damage it does. So it does 2 points of damage. And then the little arrow is the range. So that's how many spaces away from your bot you can shoot. So you don't count the square you're in, then you would count the next square. So if they're 1, 2, or 3 squares away, you can shoot them with that, and you can shoot in any direction. You shoot diagonally, or in any direction you want to go. And then there's the Heavy Hammer, which costs 2 and does 2 points of damage. Now that's a hand-to-hand weapon. So basically, again, it only hits those squares next to you. So those are all the always available cards. And then we've got some examples of cards you might find in the market. Like, for example, you've got the Grappling Clamp, which is super cool. You basically shoot it out at somebody, and then it drags them to you and does 1 point of damage in the process. So it's cost 4. Only does 1 point of damage. So it's a little, just a small attack. But that repositioning them can be huge, especially if there's something, nasty in front of you, or you've got a big hand-to-hand weapon you want to hit them with. And so that one's a fun one. We've got the Omni Wheels. Those give you 3 energy and allow you to move diagonally for that turn. And then there's a big expensive card, the Tesla Coil. This thing costs 7. It does 2 points of damage. Only has a range of 1, so it only can hit the squares around you. But you can turn extra energy into damage with this. So if you've got some battery cards, you can power up your Tesla Coil and blast somebody for 5 all at once or more. Basically, you just pick, however much you want to spend, you get to do that much damage. Now, overkilling a robot does not get you extra victory points. You only get the victory points of their health. So that's sort of a quick overview of Robot Quest. We're super excited about it. We love the art style. It's got obviously a cartoony anime feel, so very different from some of the art in our other games. But each of our games sort of has a style. So yeah, we're super excited about it. The game is really fun, and that whole like board and moving around thing really adds a really cool element to the game.